Hello everyone, thank you for joining. Thank you especially to Ghazal from Pamenar Press and all of the other small presses and organizations joining this monumental salutation to global solidarity with Palestine. My name is Erin Honeycutt and I'm here in Berlin representing the German sector of the globe. I'm here on behalf of Cutt Press and also of Vortext magazine. Vortext is a mail-order poetry subscription magazine that I co-edit with Katharina Ludwig. And Vortext cannot be bought, it can only be subscribed to and sent to your personal mail home address. And we're interested as a publishing tactic and a way that we can archive literature in times of censorship. So we are your hosts for the evening. I will introduce the next three readers, and then Katerina will read and introduce the following three readers. My first reader after me will be Dalia Nice. Dalia Nice is a writer, musician, educator, somatic facilitator, and the author of The Swarm, Hercules Road, and Zephyrian Spools. They co-founded the poetry musical group Dali Muru and the Polyphonic Swarm, and are musician and vocalist for the Scottish drone folk love song project, Stravsky and Pele. Dali is affiliated with the Berlin Jewish Bund, fighting for collective liberation, anti-colonial, queer, and Doikite in the 21st century. Dalia's video, for a bit of context to that, it's a documentation of Dalia reading three poems from Paul Celan. The three poems are Psalm, Radix, Matrix, and Alchemical. And Dalia is representing the Jewish Bund as part of a collective mourning ritual, which was held on the 9th of November in Oranienplatz Square in the streets of Kreuzberg, in collaboration with comrades from Palestine Speaks, the Almo Collective, Bloc Latino Berlin, Migrant Antifa, and Sini, the Kurdish feminist collective. After Dalia, we will have Tausa. Tausa is a spoken word artist in Germany of Moroccan heritage. She started writing poetry in 2024. She does not separate her artistry from her activism and sees her art as a form of resistance and amplification of political issues such as Palestine that is being silenced in countries such as Germany. Following Tausa, we will have Sandra Hetzel. Sandra is a writer and translator of contemporary Arabic literature into German. She will be reading her translation into German of a poem by the Palestinian poet Asma Azizeh. In English, the poem is called The Dinosaurs, My 20,000 Children, and I. Thank you, everyone.
No one molds us out of earth and clay. No one molds us out of earth and clay again. No one conjures our dust. No one. Praised be your name. Praised be your name, no one. For your sake we shall flower towards you. And nothing we were, we are, shall we remain flowering. Die Nichts, die Niemandsrose. With our pistols soul bright, with our stammen heaven ravaged, our corolla red, with the crimson word which we sang, over, oh, over, oh, over the thorn. As one speaks to stone, as you, to me from an abyss, from a homeland insisted, here throne you, you pre-time for me, you to me in a night's nothing, you in the but night encountered, you, yes, you. Back when I wasn't there, back when you paced off field alone, you, but you. Who was it? That Geschlecht, the murdered one, the one standing black into the sky. Root, root, root. Abraham's root, Jesse's root, no one's fucking root. Oh yeah, ours. As one speaks to stone as you, with my hands grabbed there and onto nothingness, so is what's here. This fertile soil two gapes, this downward is one of the wild blooming crowns. Silence, cooked like gold, in charred hands. Great, grey, sisterly shape, near like all that is lost. All the names, all those names, burnt with the rest. So much ash to be blessed, so much land, one above the light, so light rings of souls. Great, grey one, cinderless. You then, you, with a pale bit open bud, you, in the wine flood. Us too, don't you think? This clock dismissed. Good, good how your word died past us here. Silence, cooked like gold, in charred hands. Fingers insubstantial as smoke, like crests, crest of air around. Great, grey, wakeless, dweller, Memra, Yakara, Shakina, regal one.
I'm going to read my translation of a poem by the Palestinian poet Asma Azaize. In Arabic, the poem is called أنا والديناصورات وأبناء العشرون ألفا. The dinosaurs, my 20,000 children and I. Die Dinosaurier, meine 20.000 Kinder und ich. Keiner hatte uns gesagt, dass all das Streben enden würde, bevor wir den Riesenbaum auf dem Berggipfel erreichen und lang und friedlich einschlummern würden in seinem Schatten. Vielleicht amputiert man uns die Füße und wir streben weiter vorwärts wie blinde Robben, wissen nicht wohin, aber streben mit der blauen Dämmerung, in unseren BHs die Totenscheine unserer Liebsten und unsere Ausweise. Vielleicht glaubt uns die Welt nicht, dass wir wirklich wir sind. Vielleicht glaubt uns die Welt nicht, dass wir existieren. Die Suche nach den Enden zerrissener Seile, die Freude am Klettern, bevor im Gehirn der Dopaminspiegel sinkt. Armer Enthusiasmus. Mit dem Finger auf die Chimäre zeigen, dieses glitzernde, üppige Paradies. Das ist alles, was uns übrig bleibt. Ich höre die Stimmen meiner 20.000 Kinder aus dem Meer von Gaza rufen. Ich warte, bis sie aufsteigen. Dann sag ich ihnen, dass die Menschen die Dinosaurier wieder zum Leben erweckt haben und dass das Aussterben so schlimm gar nicht war. Eine gewaltige Pause eben vom Kreuzschiff des Lebens, das im Irrsinn treibt. Wir gehen an Bord, um zu beweisen, dass wir nicht bloß Einbildung sind. Die Dinosaurier, meine Kinder und ich und unsere kleinen Träume, die Kaulquappen ähneln. Wir gehen an Bord und sehen zu, wie ihnen Ärmchen, Beinchen und Zünglein wachsen, du lieber Himmel. Sie können ja sprechen, in einer Sprache aus Licht. Im Dunkeln tanzen die Kaulquappen. Im Licht bringt man sie um. 8 von ihnen wurden ermordet. Sila hat sie in ihrem Heftlein verzeichnet, bevor die Bomben auch sie töteten. Wir streben. Sila mit ihrem staubigen Gesicht und ihren 20.000 Geschwistern und die Dinosaurier und ich, auch wenn wir vielleicht im Zustand totaler Vernichtung oben ankommen und niemand unsere roten Strahlen vom Gipfel sehen wird. Ein einziger Strahl wird leuchten, ein blutroter Strahl, und die Stadt erreichen. Und ein Kind wird glauben, es sei eine Sternschnuppe aus seinem Traum.
Hello, my name is Cutt, and I would like to perform one of my own poems on Palestine in German. And the title is Niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt. Tod einatmen, Leben ausatmen. Niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt. Unruhige Stille verdirbt die Früchte unserer Zukunft. Meine Vorfahren haben mir die Sprache des Feuers vererbt. Ich musste sie mir selbst beibringen, weil sie in keinen Büchern steht, sondern in unseren Händen und Gesichtern eingebrannt ist. Feuer hat mich angeschrien. Dich etwa nicht? Hast du keine Angst vor Zukunft? Hast du keine Angst davor, dass Feuer nach den Namen deiner Kinder ruft? Wann hörst du endlich auf deine Augen? Sie sagen dir die Wahrheit. Ich habe gesehen, wie Gazas Körper schmelzen. Niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt. Ich kann nicht mehr traurig lachen und tatenlose Täter weinen sehen, während Gazas Mütter Blut weinen, weil niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt. Niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt, aber ich soll in der friedlichen Hölle weiter lachen, studieren, einkaufen gehen, konsumieren, arbeiten, feiern gehen und Kinder bekommen, wenn unsere Geschwister in Gaza friedlich ermordet werden, weil niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt. Wie kann mein Herz gebrochen werden, während palästinensische Körper zerrissen werden? Wie kann man hier seinen Geburtstag feiern, während brutale Sternschnuppen in Gaza den Wunsch nach Tod erfüllen? Wir können Flüsse und Bäche hier plätschern, während die größten Flüsse aus Blut bestehen und Gazas Asphalte durchbluten anstatt ihre Körper. Wie kann die Sonne immer noch scheinen, während man in Gaza vom Knall des Sonnenuntergangs wegrennt? Wie können Pflanzen hier immer noch blühen, während Palästinas Orangen traurig wurden und ihre Olivenbäume brennen? Wir können Vögel hier zwitschern, während sie in Gaza lauter summen als ein Bienenschwarm ohne Königin. Hier bedeuten Vögel Freiheit. Dort bedeuten Vögel F-16er und F-35er, weil niemand je vom Frieden gelernt hat. Niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt. Schau dich um. Frieden ist das verlorene Kind, nach dem niemand sucht, aber alle dann wollen für den eigenen Ruf. Schau dich um. Niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt, weil Frieden den Herrschenden nichts beibringt, deren Herzen Gerechtigkeit nicht ertragen können. Niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt, weil Frieden ist das Echo des klebenden Blutes auf den Geldschein, das nie zu Ende hallt. Tatenlose Täter laufen umher, als ob es ihnen gut ginge, mit Blutspuren wie ein Schattenspiel. Wann brennen die, die brennen sollen? Weil niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt. Wann brennen Israel und USA für die Hölle, die sie kreiert haben? Sie haben nie vom Frieden gelernt. Niemand hat hier vom Frieden gelernt. Sie haben nie von Gerechtigkeit gelernt. Sie haben nie von Freiheit gelernt. Und schon gar nicht haben sie vom Holocaust gelernt, in dem ihre eigenen Vorfahren gebrannt haben. Niemand hat je vom Frieden gelernt. Von Holocaust-Opfern zu Holocaust-Tätern, verdorbene Früchte der Vergangenheit, verbrannt, zu reif zu verzehren, zwingt mich, dich, schamlosen, barbarischen Terroristen, was vom Frieden zu lehren.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day to everyone who joins this Solidary Reading Marathon. My name is Katharina Ludwig. I run Vortext magazine together with Erin, and I will introduce the readers of the second part of the Berlin time slot. Erin has said quite a bit about Vortext already. What I would like to add is that Vortext usually is constructed around a cover poem, a poem of someone who wrote before us, in the sense that writing is afterlife. And we have up to 10 poets entering into a conversation with the poem, contributing to each issue of the magazine. I will read the cover poems of the first 2 issues by Diane Prima and Nicky Giovanni, and then a very short poem of mine. Then I will introduce the following readers in order of appearance. But before I start, I want to thank Ghazal for organizing this event, impressive in scale, participation, and in showing that there is a strong and continuous global resistance to the genocide of the Palestinian people by the Israeli government. As we sort of represent Germany here, I want to say to Germany just as much. The term genocide does exist in the plural. What's going on in Palestine is a genocide, and genocides must be stopped. We are here to at least show solidarity with the Palestinian people and everyone, wherever they are, who are affected personally or otherwise. I begin by reading Diane Prima's revolutionary letter number 12. The vortex of creation is the vortex of destruction. The vortex of artistic creation is the vortex of self-destruction. The vortex of political creation is the vortex of flesh destruction. Flesh is in the fire, it curls and terribly warps. Fat is in the fire, it drips and sizzling sings. Bones are in the fire, they crack tellingly in subtle hieroglyphs of oracle, charcoal singed, the smell of your burning hair. For every revolutionary must at least will his own destruction. Rooted as he is in the past, he sets out to destroy. The next poem is by Nicky Giovanni for Sandra. I wanted to write a poem that rhymes, but revolution doesn't lend itself to bebopping. Then my neighbor, who thinks I hate, asked, "Do you ever write tree poems?" I like trees, so I thought I'll write a beautiful green tree poem. Peeked from my window to check the image, noticed that the schoolyard was covered with asphalt. No green, no trees grow in Manhattan. Then, well, I thought the sky. I'll do a big blue sky poem. But all the clouds have winged low since no Dick was elected. And now he's dead. So I thought again, and it occurred to me, maybe I shouldn't write at all, but clean my gun and check my kerosene supplies. Perhaps these are not poetic times at all. This is a very short, maybe a bit didactic one by me. Some sort of education. I learned the term penknife derives from the knife carried by the writer to sharpen quills and pencils, a weapon to forge weapons. I learned the first typewriter was produced by an arms manufacturer in the United States, the mechanics of typing and shooting, a weapon forgery forging another weapon. In addition, I learned revolt and revolver are kin, turning over, overturning, while verse is rooted in the turning of the plough at the end of the field, the end of a line, the labor in words, a loaded gun in our hands. And now I introduce the following readers, starting with Lotte Thiessen, who is a poet, parent, and translator based in Berlin. Between 2015 and 2021, she co-ran the reading and publication series Artichoke. Her chapbook, Fragments of Baby, was published in 2019 by Materialien. Currently, she is working on a series of poems under the working title Coin Eaters. Coin Eaters in Progress was published in 2024 with Cutt Press. Then there will be a Monty, who is a cross-disciplinary poet, translator, and educator. They have facilitated seminars and workshops on experimental sound, contemporary poetry, archival research, and writing for performance. Monty is an associate editor at Litmus Press and co-edits Womanwood, an Open Calls Mod Gazette, printed by Cutt Press. They have written for the Offing, McSweeney's, the Berliner, Montes Press Radio. Monty is based between Berlin and New York City, but was born in an elevator in Rome, going up to the 3rd floor. And then there's Kitty Doherty, who is a Berlin-based writer, editor, and concrete poet. She is the editor-in-chief of the literary journal FU Review and author of the visual poetry collection I Make You Make Me Sing, Pay-Per-View Books 2023. Her work has appeared in journals such as Dunlin Press and Hoax, as well as exhibitions in Berlin and Istanbul.
Good evening. I am going to read from a book that I am currently reading, which is not poetry, but still pretty poetic. It's called Queer Lives Across the Wall by Andrea Rothman, and it is a kind of telling and examination of the everyday lives of queer Berliners in the years leading up to the building of the Berlin Wall, and also in the decades after the wall was separating the city. And she's kind of looking at both East and West Berlin in this very beautifully done study. And I am just going to read the first part of the 3rd chapter, which features some love letters and some longing and a little bit of a topography of Berlin in 1948. Oh, beloved Guy, you are the only one for whom I have shed tears, and in Luliano and here in Berlin. The tears came into my eyes as I saw you drive off in the omnibus, and I was glad that I could keep my countenance on the S-Bahn, at least. Here at home I cannot any more, and Mutti always wants to know if I want something to eat instead of leaving me alone. Eberhard Brooks to Guy Morris on 18th of December 1949. When we kissed yesterday in the waiting room and in front of the omnibus, it became terrifically clear to me again. When I saw you disappear in the omnibus, I could no longer hold the tears back. Eberhard Brooks to Guy Morris, 19th of December, 1949. My love, I dreamt of you again last night. We were sitting in a restaurant and eating. All at once you took your hand and stroked mine, which was lying on the table. All the people were looking at us, and when I saw everyone looking at us, I took your head towards me and I kissed you on the mouth. It was so wonderful to feel your mouth and to be seen by everyone. Eberhard Brooks to Guy Morris, 16th of January 1950. The heartbreak of saying goodbye to a lover at the bus station, the need to keep the tears and the sadness at bay until reaching the privacy of the home where one's concerned but clueless mother won't even leave one alone, the joy of reuniting with the lover if only in a dream, daring to kiss farewell in the anonymous space of the station and celebrating a kiss in the imagined public of a restaurant in his dream. Eberhard Brooks' letters to his American lover Guy Morris speak of the realities and the fantasies of queer public spaces in post-war Berlin. Brooks and Morris had met in Lugano, Switzerland in 1948, where Brooks, a 30-year-old visual artist and native Berliner, was spending a year to recover from a liver illness. Guy Morris, a car sales representative of the same age, was in Europe for work. The two fell in love and reunited in Berlin in 1949, where Brooks was sharing an apartment with his mother in the suburban district of Langwitz in the city's southwest. The letters are a passionate introduction to some of the themes of this chapter. And maybe actually I now need to stop because this is already at 5 minutes. But thank you for having me, and thank you to the ghosts, the queer ghosts, for joining me in my reading just now. Bye.
Seeds, after Käthe Kollwitz. What are these times in which to talk of trees is almost a crime? Brecht. Images blur into one another. Mordant acid cuts into metal. Pixels burn into the retina. Hand gestures, tracing, swiping, grasping, clenching, digging. I know what flesh feels like. I hold it dearly every night, small hands searching for sleep. And both know not to and know no better than to take this bond as point of departure for holding onto life. Seeds for sowing should not be ground, she quotes and hides the kids under her skirt. Big muscular arms crossed over their heads and fat black strokes. She looks stoically upwards from deep eye sockets as in, try me, I will not move. I have only these seeds. I have nothing but them to lose, and no, they're not mine. After Greta and Adam Kukov. The earth fulfilled another orbit, the year bit its tail as it does each day, and today the sun has milk in its eyes, and the sky is finally muted, and silence falls into sleep, or sleep into silence, or silence is sleep, and the clouds are spineless, and concrete returns in breadcrumbs, and the buildings have wilted like flowers to the sides of the street. In the mouth, words become ash, spit trickles, turns into paste, dribbles into the day. Good morning, peace be with you. What did you dream? I dreamt the earth fulfilled another orbit, and history bit its tail, ate its long body backwards, and its inner circle shrank to the size of a pin. When he was 3, she sat him out into the winter street and had hailed kids' fists like provisions for the haunting prospect of the loneliness that would follow their arrest. When he wanted a flag like the other kids and found a paper one, his father told him to bury it on the side of the road. You'll see one day it will blossom in crimson red, and you will hold it up high and float it through the streets. When he came home and said that the people carrying the rubble next door were evil, she said not to believe everything he heard. If he had questions, to come to her. When he was scared of the whirring of the planes in the sky, he took him high up on the roof and wiped the fear away with constellations. Sometime before Christmas, he came home to his parents who'd built him a world in the alcove of the atelier, left nothing to chance. Forests teeming with deer, villages with pig families and geese, the city of Lübeck, the Ore Mountains, a mirror lake, skyscrapers, buses, schools, and hospitals. When he said, that which you don't do too soon, you do too late, he was right. When she was in prison, she wrote to him of a ray of light a fellow prisoner made dance on her wall with a mirror, and of the food they had eaten together, of memorized feasts, until she knew that they would have their fill. She wrote, I did not drink, but the sun shines so bright. The walls of the Gedenkstätte Deutscher Widerstand are the grey distilled from over 365 Berlin afternoons.
Hi, my name's Kitty. I'm really honoured to be here in such great company to express my solidarity with the people of Palestine and for oppressed people everywhere. The first poem I'm going to read is by Etel Adnan, a poet, essayist, and painter. She was born in Lebanon in 1925 under the French occupation. I love her texts for how they confront lineages of violence and colonization, but in her own uniquely surprising, surreal way. She died in 2021, and today I'm going to read a section from her poem, The Spring Flower's Own, which was published in 1990. The morning after my death, we will sit in cafes, but I will not be there. I will not be. There was the great death of birds. The moon was consumed with fire. The stars were visible until noon. Green was the forest drenched with shadows. The roads were serpentine. A redwood tree stood alone with its lean and lit body, unable to follow the cars that went by with frenzy. A tree is always an immutable traveller. The moon darkened at dawn. The mountain quivered with anticipation, and the ocean was double shaded. The blue of its surface with the blue of flowers. Mingled in horizontal water trails, there was a breeze to witness the hour. The sun darkened at the 5th hour of the day. The beach was covered with conversations. Pebbles started to pour into holes, and wave came in like horses. The moon darkened on Christmas Eve. Angels ate lemons in illuminated churches. There was a blue rug planted with stars above our heads. Lemonade and war news competed for our attention. Our breath was warmer than the hills. There was a great slaughter of rocks, of spring leaves, of creeks. The stars showed fully the last king of the mountain gave battle and got killed. We lay on the grass, covered dried blood with our bodies. Green blades swayed between our teeth. We went out to sea. A bank of whales was heading south. A young man among us, a hero, tried to straddle one of the sea creatures. His body emerged as a muddy pool, as mud. We waved goodbye to his remnants, happy not to have to bury him in the early hours of the day. We got drunk in a bar room. The small town of Fairfax had just gone to bed. Cherry trees were bending under the weight of their flowers. They were involved in a ceremonial dance to which no one had ever been invited. I know flowers to be funeral companions. They make poison and venoms and eat abandoned stone walls. I know flowers shine stronger than the sun. Their eclipse means the end of times. But I love flowers for their treachery. Their fragile bodies grace my imagination's avenues. Without their presence, my mind would be an unmarked grave. And now I'm going to read a shorter poem by Yahya al-Hamana, a Palestinian poet. It's taken from his debut book, My Voice Cannot Be Bombed, which was released in 2025, that he wrote within Gaza. He has many amazing poems. It was hard to choose one. But here it is. I pondered. I think and feel that one of the beautiful things that happens to a human being is to have enough power to sit somewhere, far away from the sound of bombs and fear that follow him everywhere. Carrying with him a small notebook, and it is in his pocket always. He writes a lot of things, past, present, and future, hopes and fears and plans, experiences and tears and moments. They remain preserved in memory, writings that narrate what we are living. Sometimes when I'm coming back from the beach near sundown, the moon starts to become visible. I look at the moon like a little child, and I feel the moon is walking with me to every place I go. It walks with me, step by step. I look at it and I smile, and I wave my hand at it. I miss sitting with the moon, without missiles. Thank you.